welcome back to Mind Over Emotions, the podcast. I'm your host, Herc. Today I got with me Parker Rivera, state champion. How old are you, Parker?
I'm 16.
16. All right, our first teenager on the podcast. It's kind of exciting because we get to kind of like dive into how it is to be a teenager in 2025. You nervous today?
A little bit.
That's normal. Like I was just telling you before we started the camera, like I did my first episode and I kind of just jumped off the porch and did it, and I was hella messing up on it. But all you guys, before we get into this conversation, make sure you guys go like and subscribe to the channel. Show some love on there. If you on Instagram, follow us on Instagram at mindoveremotions_VDP. And then on this episode, you'll see Parker's Instagram, so you guys can follow him and support him along his journey. And then you can always follow me on my personal page at official_Big Hefe Herc. So Parker, you from Tacoma?
I was born in Auburn, but I've been raised in Sumner my whole life.
Okay. You never lived outside of Washington at all?
No.
Ever been outside of Washington?
I've been to Oregon. I've been to a lot of states, but I've never been outside the country.
Okay. Now, you grew up, I know you have your mom. Is your dad a part of your life?
No.
Have you ever met him?
Last time I saw him, I was 3, and basically my mom kicked him out because my brother was going through it from seeing him leave and go. So she didn't want me to go through that.
Keep it dealing with that trauma.
Yeah. So she basically cut him out early, so then I didn't have to go through the same thing.
Okay, so we get to that in a second. So as a kid, how was it growing? You got siblings?
Yeah. I got one older brother.
Just one older brother?
Mm-hmm.
So growing up with your older brother, how was that? Being the little brother?
Chaotic.
Chaotic?
It was a lot chaotic because I really just followed him around. He's a big role model to me. So even him just riding bikes, we'd ride bikes all the time. We play catch. We do everything.
Okay. And then I don't want to say it, but because I know you a little bit, and from what I could tell, you're definitely kind of like a mama's boy.
Yeah.
I can tell you love being with your mom, and she loves having you around, so that's good. But as a kid, let me ask you this: as a kid, growing up without your father, were there other male influences?
Probably my brother and my grandfather most.
Okay, so your mom never had boyfriends that you looked up to or anything like that?
No, she mainly just focused on work and me and my brother.
Oh, okay, that's rare. A lot of times these moms. They bring in these different boyfriends, and then you kind of get attached to them, build relationships with them, and then they kind of fall off.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you ever have any kind of resentment or wishes that your father was more around? How does that affect you as a kid?
I mean, I feel like I never physically or mentally acknowledged that it affected me, but I feel like it sort of did, cause I don't know. I feel like in a way it did. I don't know how to describe it, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I feel like when my brother and my grandpa are around, they sort of filled that void that without him being there.
Okay. So you think that becoming the young man that you are today is predominantly a testament to who your brother is as a man and your grandfather?
Yeah, I feel like I have a combination of a lot of people I know's personalities and stuff. It just makes me, made me who I am today. And, yeah, pretty much just all of that combined.
Well, I'll say this, man. When I first met you, I knew right off the rip, that you were definitely different. Definitely different from most, teenage boys that I've met. Because most teenage boys, they're into, getting high, drinking.
Yeah.
And at the time when I first met you, I was still smoking weed. And I remember you didn't want to smoke weed. You didn't want to take a shot with nobody, Most people, their parents, let them take a shot or something like that. You were just like, no, I don't drink, I don't do that. And I remember, I'll never forget, you told me, you was like, no, I play sports. And I was like, okay. And you kind of just stuck to that since this whole time. And, so for that, I commend you for that, because a lot of these kids these days, they're followers. But they might say that the first time, and then the next time, a little bit of peer pressure.
Yeah.
And then they start drinking. How was school for you? As a when you were in elementary school, middle school, how was that?
I feel like elementary school was just a nice chill experience, but middle school is probably the most challenging of all 3 schools.
Why is that?
I feel like it is because you're like transitioning into the person you're gonna be as you get older, and it's like that awkward stage when you don't know who you are, and you're
Okay.
trying to find that group who you are. So I feel like for me, it was just like I just didn't know where I belonged. But
Where do you think you belong now? You figured that out yet, or you still trying to figure it
well, when I'm older, I don't know, but I'm a lot more confident compared to when I was in middle school.
out? Okay. So I know you play sports. Like I said, we'll get into that. But when did sports become like a love of yours?
Ever since I was little, I used to like my mom used to take me to watch my brother's Parks and Recs games all the time. So I've just like grown up in it.
What
Then
sports do you play?
I started baseball.
Okay.
Then I only started playing football in 7th grade,
Okay.
and I run track. So my first sport was soccer, but I was sort of a complainer. I did not.
Hey, careful with the soccer. That's my sport, man.
Yeah, I was just not having it. I remember I would like cry in front of that. I just was not having
Too much
soccer.
running.
I don't know what it was, but it was Parks and Rec. We were like indoors too. So I was
Indoor soccer. That's where I started. Yeah, I
Yeah.
talked about it on one of my previous episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that for you? I know you say you fell in love with sports when you were younger, but do you feel like maybe sports is kind of like an outlet for you?
Yeah, I feel like it's sort of a way to express like if I'm having like a bad day in like school or just like I'm not having it like with anyone, I'm feeling like sad or something. I feel like I can just like go express myself like on the field or like even just lifting. Lifting's a good way
Yeah.
because you're just you and yourself just getting better.
Okay. Uh, Now, do you currently still play baseball?
No,
No. Why'd you quit baseball?
it was during COVID,
Okay.
so like during all that happened, like I played select baseball, which cost like $1,000. So like
Oh, almost like AAU kind of like.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They did not refund my mom for that season, even though it got canceled.
Still?
No, they still haven't refunded her. I'm pretty sure.
I wonder if you could probably like sue them for that. But go ahead.
So
Seems illegal.
so I was like, I don't want to play in the next season. So I just like that was the last year I played. I tried to get back into it, but I was like, just nah.
All right. So you just do football and track.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because obviously, this is a mental health podcast, right?
Mhm.
So, as a kid or a teenager, a young man, what kind of stressors and things do you have that kind of like, or well, let me ask you this first before we get to that. What does mental health mean to you as a teenager? Like, when you think mental health, what does that mean to you?
Like, I feel like just how you are, like mentally, like where you are and physically, like how you feel about the situation you're currently in,
Okay.
and just like, are you happy with it? Are you sad? Like, but I feel like a great way is expressing yourself because if you don't, it just bottles up.
And I know you said that like you kind of like with your father not being present. Do you think that? So you don't think that any kind of way like that affected you mentally? You think that your support system of your grandfather, your brother, and your mom. You think that was just enough to like kind of like I don't want to say distract you, but help you kind of cope with the fact that your father was not around.
Yeah, I feel like in a way, like kind of overpowered it,
Okay.
but like it would have been nice, like having him. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like just having a father there. That's why, like when I'm older, I've always like even when I was younger, like a little kid, I was like, I'm gonna be like the best father in the world.
Okay, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
stick to that.
Hmm.
So, what kind of things like with school? We'll start with school. Like, what kind of things in school do you think kind of like triggers a little bit of mental health within you? Like,
School working for sure.
I think that's with everybody, even when you get older. Yeah.
Schoolwork. But also, I feel like just like people in general, it's like sometimes like people just feel like they need to like blend in with a group of people, even though it's like being yourself is probably the best way to feel your best.
Because I can imagine as a teenager, like for me growing up, like we grew up in two different eras. Obviously, when I grew up, there was no social media. I think like when I was a junior or senior, I think they started getting into like Black Planet, MySpace. Facebook was just
I don't even know what that is. I know what Facebook is though.
Black Planet was like probably like the original Facebook, and then you had MySpace, which is crazy that MySpace is actually still around. You can actually log in still,
Yeah.
which is crazy. I wish they would bring MySpace back because MySpace, I feel like MySpace was before its time, right? Because you look at Facebook, you look at Instagram, you look at TikTok, all those platforms, they're cool for what they are, But MySpace, like you could be unique. Like you can make your page. You could have when people go on your page, you could have certain music playing. You know, like you could have like all these animations and stuff going on your own personal page. Now it's just like you go to somebody's profile and it's just like they're posting like some.
It's like all the same.
Yeah, like everybody's it's just a
Yeah.
picture with a caption or a video, and their video they might do some editing or something like that.
Yeah.
But their actual page, there's nothing really unique about it. So I feel like MySpace was a little bit above its time, before its time. But what I was gonna say was, for us, you know, you always have that pressure of trying to fit in, right? But I feel like for you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you guys have maybe a little bit harder because not only do you have that pressure of fitting in with your friends, right, in person, right, but you also have that pressure of fitting in on social media.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got those two worlds. You know, because you have the ability. It's a pressure, but it's not because you have the ability to be like, let's just say, for lack of better terms, like you might be that nerd at school, but online you could be that tough guy, or you could be, you know, the fly dude, or you know, whatever the case may be. You could be who you want to be online, but then I guess you really couldn't socialize online with your people who really know you. They'd be like, nah, man, you're fugazi, you know. So I know your presence on social media isn't as heavy as a lot of teenagers. I noticed that when I looked at your profile.
Yeah.
Is that because of that?
I feel like I'd rather just be more authentic in person.
Okay.
Because you can look at someone's profile and they get like all hard, but they can be like the softest person on the inside. But
Yeah.
you'll never know that just based off of their profile. So like if you like truly get to know someone like me, I'm just like I'm a chill guy. I don't really like to get into stuff like that. I just go with the flow with stuff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I think that's probably like a safer way for your mental health because, you know, you can, I look at all these kids, like even for, let me ask you this before we get into that. Do you think that, do you see at your school and in your social circles, a lot of kids these days dealing with like, you know, mental health issues, like talking about like depression, mental, anxiety, you know, all that kind of stuff?
No, I feel like a lot of people hide it.
Okay.
I feel like that.
But I know they might hide it, but do you see like people dealing with it?
No,
No?
not really. Most people just like act. Like there's this kid, prime example. Like a year ago, benefit night at our school is like support a family that like something tragic happened to them. This kid, I won't name his name, but
Yeah.
he lost his mom to cancer, and they had to deal with all the hospital bills. So we're doing like all the stuff for them. He's just always smiling. You would never know that about him. So you would never know that he's like mentally going through it.
Yeah.
So like it's just them and their dad. So it's just kind of sad. But you would never know that because he just masks it with a smile.
Okay. Well, that's good and bad.
Yeah.
You know, especially if he's, it's good if he can just keep putting a smile on and showing up every day and waking up every day, you know, and pushing through it. As long as he's dealing with it, you know, in some kind of way, with therapy or anything like that. Would you ever do therapy?
If I need to, yeah.
You don't think you need therapy at all?
No.
Some people say that everybody needs therapy. Some people say that everybody needs to talk to a therapist. You don't think that a therapist would do you any kind of good?
I feel like if I went to therapy, I don't know. I feel like they'd probably uncover stuff on me I wouldn't even know.
But see, that's the reason.
But like, I feel like my mom is my therapist. Because even she knows stuff about me I don't even know.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, moms always say they know you better than you know yourself.
Exactly.
No, I don't agree with that.
You don't?
No, I don't agree with that, man.
You should meet my mom. Well, you already know
I
her.
know her, yeah, but you guys are like, you know, like two peas in a pod. So I mean,
Yeah.
you guys are like really kind of been like really. I could tell you guys have been close since you were little. Definitely
Yeah.
close. Like you know, almost borderline. I want to say like your mom might be your best friend. You know, because just the relationship that you guys have. Because I mean, if your mom didn't post you as her son, everybody probably think you was her boyfriend. You know, because I'm serious. Because the way she talks about you and posts you, you know, it's like it's just Parker. It's like she's definitely in love with you. Right?
Yeah.
You know, so that's good though, having a loving parent. Because some of the guests I've had on here, they didn't have that experience. They had parents who, you know, weren't necessarily so supportive or involved in their lives, and it kind of like affected them growing up. So I know you spoke about another kid in your school who went through something. What kind of things at your school? Does your school provide any kind of like resources for like mental health? If you were to open up to them and tell them like you're battling or you might have some suicidal thoughts or anything like that, do they have any kind of like programs or
I'm
support systems?
pretty sure. I know a couple things. Like I know you can talk to the counselors about it.
Okay.
Counselor at our school, and I'm pretty sure on our ASB cards, like our D cards, on the back it's suicide hotline.
What's that? What's an ASP card?
Basically, it's like school identification card.
Oh, okay.
So like they got that like suicide hotline in the back of that. There's probably more that I don't know about because I don't really like get too much into it because
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need it. But there's probably a lot more. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so going to school during COVID, when everything shut down, you went from being socially going to school, changing classes, intermeeting
Yeah.
with your friends and stuff like that, to going to school on a computer online. How did that affect you mentally?
I feel like, especially because me, I was fifth grade to sixth, transition in middle school. I feel like it was hard in a
Hold
way.
on, 2020, you were in fifth grade.
Sorry, that made you feel a little old, didn't it?
No, it's just I didn't really think about that. Like, go
My
ahead.
bad.
Sorry, I didn't think about that. But,
Yeah.
oh well, yeah, I guess you're transitioning, so it was not a big deal. Okay.
Yeah, so,
well, that
like-
could have been a big deal because, like you said earlier, you were like, you know, going from elementary school to middle school as you kind of like discover who you're gonna be. Do you think that put a damper on that, like kind of like it like slowed the progress down?
I feel like, I mean, I got more sleep from it. Like, I feel like that's the best I've ever been rested in my life. But I feel like it was hard in the moment to like make friends across a screen instead
sure.
of being in person. As like when we went back to school for the second half of the year, it was a lot better because like I was face to face and was able to interact with people.
Did you see any of your like fellow students or classmates or anything like that dealing with like stuff like or taking it really hard, like the struggling to deal with like going to school online and not having that social interaction? Did you ever see that any cases like that?
No, none that I've seen with, but I can say myself that my mom. Oh, I sound kind of sad right there.
You did. You
I know
gotta cry for a minute.
No,
I
I'm
got
not
some
gonna
tissue
cry.
boxes.
No, I'm
for
not
you.
gonna cry. My mom is like a occupational therapist,
Okay.
so she like works with like she worked with COVID during the pandemic. It was hard seeing her gone a lot because she was working like 14-hour days, like dealing with that. So like it was just me and my brother. So, and then she would come home, have to like do work on her computer, and then go to sleep. She felt terrible, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But I understand what she had to do because she has like 2 boys at home.
Yeah.
But it was kind of just sad. It was a very sad time.
You know what? I was in Vegas during COVID, and I remember my ex and the girls, like they'd be at home all day, and the girls were miserable. Mm-hmm. They were younger, but one of them, she was in middle school at the time, and she hated it.
Yeah.
And for me, like it was just as a parent, as an adult coming home every day, you could just see the change in the children.
Yeah.
Because as kids, you need social interaction. Because you guys thrive off that. It's how you guys learn. It's how you guys adapt to culture, and you just kind of like grow mentally. Social interaction. So I can only imagine that was really tough on you. So another question for you: when it comes to football, what has football taught you as as a teenager, as a man, like young man? Like, what does football teach you?
I feel like it teaches you to like integrity.
Integrity.
Cause like even if like I didn't start last year,
Okay.
or a state championship team, so like the best team in the state. I didn't start last year, but like I still had an interception. You just got at the beginning of the year in spring ball, I was contemplating quitting for a second. It was just for like a day, but like it was like a lot. Cause I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna be like what my role is gonna be on the team. So I was just like, I don't know how this is gonna be, and then I just stuck with it, and then the rest is history. We're a state champs.
What do you? Oh yeah, congrats on that.
Yeah.
What position do you play?
I play corner.
Corner. As a cornerback, like what kind of like principles do you think you need to have as a cornerback? On the field and off the field, like does okay. So what I'm asking you is, on the field, what do you take from being that position on the field and apply it to your regular life? Is there anything that you could take from that? Like, does it make you better as a man?
I feel like being a corner, you gotta stick with like the receiver, so you gotta like stick with like what you believe in and like stick with your dreams and like, because if you stray from that, then it will disappear quickly.
I'm glad you brought up dreams, right? Because that's kind of like a transition to this conversation where I was trying to go with it, which is what's your like, let's just say after school, like what's your plan?
I don't fully know yet. I know my backup will probably be go to Air Force or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Most people have like this, like, like, oh, I want to go to the NFL, and then you ask them like, well, it's a small chance that happens,
Yeah.
but chase that dream. So after, if that, let's just say that falls through, what are you gonna do next? And most of them draw a blank.
Hmm.
The fact that you led with your backup plan.
Well, I know more about my backup plan than my actual plan. I'm still thinking, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff I can do. I just don't want to spend it on the wrong thing.
Okay.
That's like gonna stress me out and just like not like I'm not gonna have a good time with.
And you're in 10th grade, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so you got a little bit of time.
Hmm.
Not too much time, man.
Yeah.
You gotta figure that out. What's the things that you enjoy though, like career wise? What do you think you enjoy?
Well, I'm pretty good at talking,
Okay.
so I feel like I can do something with that. Or
You can come over here and be a podcaster.
I could be.
All right.
I could be your co-host.
Hey, you know what? Hey, we might have to make some room for you, man. You might next time I have some teenagers I'm to bring you on.
Yeah.
Be like, look, man, don't be nervous. Parker's here, man.
Yeah, I was here once too, first time.
Exactly, yeah. So Air Force. Why Air Force? What made you want to go
It's the branch my brother went to,
there? Okay.
and also, it just I feel like it's the easiest. Besides Coast Guard, I don't want to be on a ship.
I don't know about nothing really about the Coast Guard, but I do know that the Air Force, they did have it easier than us. I was stationed on the Air Force Base.
Were you Army?
Yeah, I was Army. And I was stationed at Eglin Air Force Base. And man, I'm telling you something. Going from those Army base DFAC to going to theirs, I remember the first day I walked in that DFAC, I was confused. Because our DFAC was like a buffet, like this pre-made food.
Oh,
And
it's like
and it's kind of like, oh, whatever.
it's
We
well
walk in there and they're like, I'm looking for the little buffet, and I'll never forget that they was like, she was like, I seen a little menu, it was like, they're like hamburgers and stuff like that, and so I was like, oh, I'll take a hamburger, and she goes, well, how do you want it cooked? What?
How do you want it cooked?
How do you want it cooked? So I was like, I mean, I felt like now I'm at like some gourmet place, they got all the they got all the sauces up there, so I think that Army base, I think at the time all we had was like, a little salt and pepper package. Some ketchup, mustard packages. They got everything. They got steak sauce. They got the hot sauce bottles. They got ketchup bottles right there on the table.
You were eating MREs and stuff. I'm just. Are those? I'm just. Oh yeah. Are they only for travel? I don't know.
Oh my god! Now we were just eating MREs, man. That's a myth, man. We got dining facilities too.
Well, no, that's like if you're like deployed.
Yeah, you're deployed and stuff like that. Or maybe in the field or something.
My bad.
Yeah. For anybody joining the Army, know that's a myth, man. You're not just walking around eating MREs. You do have a dining facility. Not for MREs, man.
Yeah, I thought MREs too.
MREs are cool, actually. Certain ones. Just don't chew the gum.
Oh,
It's a setup.
They have gum in them?
Yeah, they got gum. I feel like the gum's like a laxative, man.
Oh.
But so if the military doesn't work out, what do you think you do after that?
If it doesn't work out?
Yeah, if the military. Let's just say, when you figure out what your plan A is, because I was just talking to my brother about this a minute ago before you showed up,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a very intelligent guy, and we were talking about it. And he was pointing out, like, as a man, really honestly, like you can't approach life, like with an end goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to always have, like how he said, like you got to have a backup plan to the backup plan,
Mm-hmm.
So like, let's just say like I'll use the example he used when we were talking about it. You think about life and your goals as the alphabet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got A to Z, and then when you get to Z, obviously that's the end of the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
But what's next? Then you got AA, BB. See what I'm saying? You
Mm-hmm.
gotta always have a plan. And a wise man once told me too, man, a man without a plan is a man set to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Because you always gotta have a plan. You don't, even when you get in relationships, You know, your spouse is looking for you, looking to you. Your spouse, your children, everybody's depending on you to come up with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys might have a plan for, let's just say, like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna take these trips, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then life happens and it throws you a curveball.
Yeah.
And you can't just get stuck like a man in water.
Mm-hmm.
Your feet stuck in mud. You gotta be constantly moving, and as soon as they look to you for a plan, you gotta come up with a plan like quick. You don't got days and weeks to think about this. You gotta be like, okay, well, listen, babe, we're gonna be doing this now. We're gonna do this, and it's gotta make sense. So you gotta be able to adjust on the fly. So when you start thinking about your future, make sure that you think about, like, maybe set aside, like, plan A, plan B, plan C, right? And then as you're approaching plan A, if you realize along the way that plan A might be falling through, you might need to start thinking about plan D. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because obviously you're going to default to plan B, but then you want to always have something lined up. You set yourself up while you're on the path to plan A. You have these detours. Think about like a trip, right? They give you multiple routes, so it's all the same end game, right? But you got to have different routes, right? So let's keep that in mind. But it looks like you're already kind of smart enough to figure that out, because, like I said, you led with plan B. That's crazy still today.
Yeah.
I mean, most people, I'm telling you, most teens, they don't even have no earthly idea about next week. And definitely, if you ask them, like, what's their 5-year plan, or what are you going to do after college? I mean, after high school, you're going to go to college. Oh, I don't know. And then that just ends there. Or they might say, oh, I want to go to college. And then, okay, well, if you don't get a scholarship, or, you can't afford it, or your grades don't help you or something like that, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I guess I'll figure it out when we get there. Yeah, well, what happens if you have a baby on the way? You become a teen dad. That happens. And I don't think anybody expects to be a teen dad. Like, they don't plan on it. Like, my goal is to graduate with 2 kids. It's like,
Graduate with 2 kids.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But a lot, that happens more times than not. While we're on that, how's dating as a teen?
I feel like it's a lot different from your time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Not to be rude.
No, you're good. Definitely.
I feel like, because it's just like all online, I feel like boys and girls are scared to speak face to face.
I agree.
Especially like talk about it in person. They have more of a persona online that they're used to talking online that they don't, like, when you're in face with them, you just don't have anything to say.
So let me ask you this: so if you're at school, right, and you see, I don't know, we'll just say Cindy, right? Cindy in math class. Are you gonna approach her at lunch at school, or are you gonna slide in the DMs?
Truthfully, DMs.
You gonna slide in the DMs?
Well, no. I was just repeating what you said.
Okay.
She's in my math class.
Yeah, let's just say she's in your math class.
I would get to know her in my math class and then progress it from there in the math class, or talk to her at lunch, like you said.
That's rare. Because even as
I'll probably be nervous.
Of course, yeah.
But, like, hey, maybe the seating chart puts us right next to each other. You know what I mean? maybe fate wants it to happen.
Yeah. There we go. I like it, man. I like it. Yeah. Because a lot of people, even as adults, man, like, nobody, like, you can see, I see this happen all the time. You can see somebody in the bar, right?
Yeah.
And you'll get their number, or you get their Instagram. That's the thing now. They don't want to give you the number. They're like, oh, you can take my Instagram, you take my Snapchat, right? And instead of you shooting your shot and saying, like, hey, like, can I take you on a date or something like that, they'll just buy them a drink or talk to them for a second, get the Instagram, walk away, and then slide into the DMs and, go from there.
Yeah.
It's like, when I was younger, and, like, my parents were younger and stuff like that, we used to have to write notes. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah, will you be my girlfriend in the box? Yes, no?
Well, I ain't that old now, but, pretty much, no, seriously, yeah. But let me ask you this, because how do you think this would have played out for you? Or do you think you could have did it? Because, see, I think it took more balls for us to holler at chicks when we were younger.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because when I was a kid, we didn't really have cell phones, right? So in order for me to talk to a female, I would have to call her house.
Oh, and then say to her parents, can I talk to her?
Yeah, can I talk to, hey, is Kayla home? And then let's just say her dad answered. Now,
Now you gotta explain yourself.
yeah, you see what I'm saying? It took a lot of balls and courage to call nowadays, or you had to get on your bike and ride your bike over there and hope that she's home.
Oh, and knock on
Yeah,
the door.
knock on the door. Like you had to do all that. Nowadays, it's like you could just text them like, "Hey, come outside," you know, or like, "Hey, what you doing?" You know, you guys have it so easy. Do you think you could have survived in that era back then? Truthfully,
Yeah.
you think so?
Yeah.
I mean, you did say you taught her in math class.
I feel like it could. I mean, it's really just all confidence. If you ain't confident, you're not surviving.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I was literally just having that conversation the other day. Like, confidence is everything. You know, because if you can, most dudes don't talk to females because they lack the confidence and they're afraid of rejection, right? But at the end of the day, being a man is like playing in a basketball game, man. You just can keep shooting as many shots as you can and hoping to
Someone will say yes.
Yeah, hoping someone. But if you never shoot the shot, you're
Yeah.
never gonna get the basket.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's definitely, I feel like walking through life, and I don't mean to, you know, offend any of the female viewers, but I feel like as a man, it's a lot harder, especially in the dating world,
Yeah.
because, you know, we're the ones who's doing the approaching, we're
Yeah.
doing the courting, we're doing all that, and
They just have to wait.
yeah, they just
for
wait and
someone.
they choose.
Uh-huh.
They really choose. I mean, they judge you and they say, okay, he's handsome, or the way that he approached me, I feel like he's genuine, and every way is not going to work with every female, and you don't even know her from whoever, so you don't even know which way it's going to work. So you got to just shoot your shot and hope to God that you know it goes in.
Yeah.
Steph Curry that big. You know, so I think that today it's way worse. It's way easier. I mean, because it's easy to shoot your shot in a DM. You know what I mean? You just copy and paste that same message to like 15 different chicks.
Yeah, but it's like really it all matters in person. It's strictly in person.
You sure you're 16?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man, because you sound like you grew up in my era, man. Like you would have survived. Because I'm telling you, you know, when I was in the dating world, even recently, like it's just kind of like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like confusing and it's weird because everything is. People want to have these texting relationships.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, we got to get to know me before we can meet in person.
Oh yeah, and I get that. And then in person, there's like dry.
Yeah, or you never get to meet them in person.
Yeah.
I could be whoever I want through a text message. You know what I mean? And then it's like, but back in the day, you didn't get that opportunity, like to, you know, we're gonna text for 2 weeks before we meet in person.
Yeah, like they're not confrontational at all.
Yeah. So, I think we had some questions from some of our subscribers. Let's see what we got here for you. I know one of them asked a crazy question.
Crazy question.
Yeah, man. They had some crazy questions for you. they had it all drawn out like a long question for
It
you.
was a long one?
Yeah. Where did it go? All right, so we'll start light. Somebody wanted to know: are you afraid of anything?
Honestly, I feel like being afraid that I won't be here one day is a thing. Death a little bit.
Deep. Okay. Wow.
I mean, it's just like, because it's like the unknown. You know what I mean? It's like going into the void. You don't know what's going to be there. I feel like that's one of my biggest like questions about life.
What happens next?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, I've been like on last Friday, I went to a Bible study.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I think I have another one on Monday. So.
All right, and then another question we have is, in your opinion, what is the biggest thing that your parents just don't understand about being a teen in 2025?
Oh.
If you got multiple, go ahead. Let us. We want to know.
Being a teen in 2025. Okay. Or it can just be anything.
Yeah. It says, in your opinion, what's the biggest thing that your parent just don't understand about being a teen in 2025?
There's a lot, but I know I'm gonna miss some. Here's a small one. I know it said biggest.
Okay.
When I'm playing a video game, and it's an online video game, and she said, "Come in the kitchen right now. Dinner's ready or something." I'm like, "All right, Mom. 1 sec. This game got 2 minutes." She's like, "No, come right now."
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
God.
Yeah, she don't care about those video games, man.
Yeah.
I will say that's the thing from years. I mean, even when I was a kid,
Yeah.
But no, we had the pause.
Yeah,
With the
you could
pause.
pause. Yeah, because
Yeah, we ran.
there wasn't as many online games, was there?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a computer gamer. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I play like a PlayStation or something like that.
Yeah, I played PlayStation. Yeah.
Not now. I don't play PlayStation. I don't. It's weird. I grew up on PlayStation, but now I'm an Xbox guy. If I play video games,
You
yeah.
switched?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think as I got older, like the PlayStation controllers are like they feel. I don't know. Feel weird. Feel small. But the Xbox, and I don't have big hands. Like I got like kind of like little fat hands, but I don't know. Xbox controller feels more right. But hey, I'm not a big gamer, so I ain't gonna be on here telling everybody trying to convert nobody.
All right, I got one more.
All right, go ahead.
I feel like the way like being super strict towards your kids, like my mom's loose. Like as long as I tell her what's going on, she's fine with it. But I feel like being up close and tight with everything, it like creates those bad habits.
Okay.
For like kids, because I've like seen it before. Like not allowing like just like even like going out or like time restriction with internet and stuff. If you like me, she doesn't allow that, but I don't like social media that much, so like I like limit myself.
Okay. But I think that's just in life, period, man.
Yeah.
Dating and everything, because it's more enticing, right? It's like one of those parents that, tell you like, oh, you can't smoke weed, right? As a kid, it's more enticing because you get a thrill from it.
Yeah.
The thrill of being sneaky, the thrill of getting caught is added on top of, whatever the case may be, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I don't see a lot of kids these days sneaking out. I think a lot of parents are more lenient on letting them go places. Because I don't see a lot of kids really sneaking out anymore. But I know that was a big thing for us. It's like sneaking out because your parents were like, oh, you got to be in the house at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Or you can't go to so-and-so's house, right? So then when the parents go in their room for a night, then I never did it, but you're climbing out the window or whatever the case may be. It was a thrill, So I definitely agree that being more loose, the term you use, I don't want to use that term, but being more loose as a parent, I guess.
Less constricting.
Yeah, there you go. You're not short leashing them. I think that, one, you're going to figure out who you are. I think, two, you'll start to learn, like, choices, consequences. But at the same time, because it's just difficult to be a parent, man, because as much as you want your kid to go out there and you want them to learn the world, it's scary out there, and it's like, okay, well, if I let them go do this and then, they get arrested or, these days kids are shooting people left and right for no reason, they get shot or whatever the case may be, then it's like, you see what I'm saying? So
yeah, but I feel like also like setting up boundaries is like a good way, because like me and my mom had boundaries, and now with my brother.
What do you mean boundaries?
I mean like knowing like what you can and can't do, like, but like it's not like overly like restricting. You know what I mean?
So like, what kind of boundaries you guys have?
Like I have to communicate with her, like going to the Y to play basketball. She wants to like updates, like make sure I'm all good and stuff. If I need
after every game, you'd be like, we just lost, but I'm still good.
Yeah, we just lost 21-0. We suck, but I'm still alive.
I ain't twisting no angles, Mom. I'm good. Like,
Yeah, I'm still alive.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. Like, yeah definitely. And that just teaches you that's teaching you more than just life. I mean, not life, but teaching you more than just that situation, because teach you communication skills.
Yeah.
Because even as you get in life, like, communication is so important. Understanding that it's not necessarily, everything's not always about control. It's about safety.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the people you love and care about, if you're just out in the streets doing whatever you want, and the people you love and care about don't know where you're at or what you're doing.
Yeah.
If something happens to you, we don't even know where to begin to look for you. So that's good. I appreciate it. I like that. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Yeah. All right. Do you know how to change a tire?
I've seen enough videos.
So you've never changed a tire before?
No, but I know. I think I can. Yeah.
All right, look, man, I got a tire outside to be changed right now. You want to learn? I'm just joking. You the look on your face.
Well, I was gonna like a middle podcast. So I was like, you sure?
Nah, like, we'll take the cameras out there and everything. We'll just learn this real quick. A DIY. Do you not? What's some kind of rules that you think that you need to know when dealing with the police? What's your nationality?
I'm Puerto Rican, Jamaican, and white.
Okay, so you're part of the brown team. All right. So yeah, what kind of rules? If a cop pulled you over, what you gonna do?
I'll say act respectfully.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
All right.
Just keep my hands still, and make sure nothing's happening. Mm.
All right. If they actually got in the car, what you gonna do? You gonna get out?
Well, I'm gonna ask, "What's the reason, sir?" And then I'll be like, and if he asks, whatever he says, I was like, it just goes from there. I don't really know what happened next.
Okay. Because that's very important.
Yeah.
I think that even just being, black or brown or whatever you want to call it these days, that's very important to know. But I think for all people, it's very important to know how to deal with the police because as much as people want to push that it's just black people who are getting abused by the police, I mean that is an epidemic. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not, but it's just everybody knowing how to deal with the police and properly deal with them. Because the way that you act with the police can trigger how they act with the next person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you give them, let's just say they pull you over and you're giving them hell, and now they're in a bad mood and they pull over the next guy, he gonna have a rough time with him because he had a bad attitude with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is like going through a drive-through at a restaurant.
Yeah.
If everybody in front of you are assholes, then they're gonna take that asshole attitude out on you.
Mm-hmm.
And you could be the most respectful person.
Yeah.
So if everybody starts to learn how to just treat each other and communicate with each other and act, then maybe we'll have better outcomes. I.e., mind over emotions.
Yeah.
All right, man. We got one more question for you.
Is this the deep one?
Actually, we already talked about it. That. So this is kind of deep. What would you say really makes you happy as a man, as a young male in today?
Well, that's a tough question. What really makes me happy as a man?
What kind of things make you happy?
I feel like just seeing the people that I know have sacrificed a lot succeed, and like just them finally get what they deserve, and like this thing that's called life. You know what I mean? But also like I really like lifting. Even though I may complain about it sometimes, it's like it takes my mind off stuff, especially if I like say like I have like straight A's, but like if I get like a C or something on the test, I just got a C on the test.
Did you know that every time you do something that you don't want to do and you force yourself to do it, that there's a certain part of your brain that gets stronger?
Yeah.
So that's why they say that people who are athletes have really strong brain, because there's always a part of your sport, no matter how much you love it, that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like for me, right? I do powerlifting, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the one part of powerlifting that I don't want to do. You want to know what it is? Mobility.
Mobility, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been hurt so many times, man. My body feels stiff. I went to go try to play basketball.
Oh.
I used to be great at basketball.
Oh, you were like a brick, weren't you?
Wow.
No, I didn't mean like shooting.
I am.
Shooting wise, ain't like.
No, I can shoot now.
Oh.
I might have to get Steph Curry a run for his money. I'm joking. But I can shoot. That's the one thing that, I was watching a basketball game last night, and Isaiah Thomas said that. He said, as you get older, everything else might fade away, but your shooting gets better, because it's the easiest thing to do. You just stand still and do it.
So your handles got bad?
Got bad. Man, listen, here, I used to handle the ball well. Now, I can still do it. It's just, everything is so, like, blocky now.
Yeah.
Like, because back then, if I showed you a picture of me, I got one, I could pull it up. Me when I played basketball, I was so little. I was frail. I was more like, just everything was able to flow. Now, I mean, just look at the movement of me doing that. Like, I look like what's that little block dude from the little Avengers or whatever? You know, tell me the little steel, the Rock Man dude. That's how I feel when
I know what you're talking about.
I forget. I don't really watch this stuff, but I've seen it before. I forget his name, but that's how I felt running down the course at LA Fitness playing. And everybody, I think people just want to beat up on me, because people are like, "Hey man, you should come hoop." Do it look like I just be hooping?
Hey, well, ever play 2K?
Yeah.
Hey, you're a paint beast.
I'm too little, man. I'm like 5'7".
Hey, well, you get the paint beast build though.
Yeah, but
you can still dunk.
I can't dunk. I could never dunk. Everybody, when I was growing up, man, everybody was like grabbing the rim and doing the little layup, slapping the backboard. That was the thing. Yeah, man. I was the little foam piece on the bottom. I was fingertipping that thing. I won't slap it.
The
You
foam
know,
piece of what?
on the backboard. You know,
Oh,
how
yeah, yeah,
you got the
yeah.
little foam around the bottom to protect your head from hitting it. You know.
Oh, the backboard, yeah.
Yeah, at the bottom.
That's what you're hitting?
That's what I was touching. Everybody else was touching the glass. They're doing layup and slapping the glass.
That's close enough to the glass, though.
But my point is, you talking about some dunking. I could barely. I was like, I think I graduated high school like 5'2", 5'3", man. I didn't get this tall until I joined the army.
Oh, so you had like a late growth spurt.
Yeah, man, everything. I'm gonna go ahead and say it now because somebody in the comments gonna point it out. Yeah, I mean, you already know. I got a small foot. Yeah.
Oh, you mean small feet?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not that small.
Hey, you guys heard it here, man. Parker,
I mean,
you're my new friend. My new friend. He said my feet aren't that small, man.
He gets smaller. He gets cheaper shoes though. So
Like you said it,
See,
man. We're gonna clip that part and put that on. Yeah, your feet are huge, man.
see, these are 12s, but I'm normally 11. I got these for free though because they didn't fit my friend. Hey, if shoes are shoes, I can
Yeah.
fit a 12 if I need to fit a 12.
Yeah. So you're a size 11 though?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a big difference.
What are you?
Hey, man, listen. Let me see. You know.
Wait, let me take a guess.
All right, go ahead.
7.
What did you say?
7. That was 7, isn't it?
All right. So
Wow.
listen.
I think I was that in middle school.
Now listen. So
We don't.
do you have a girlfriend? We're not gonna talk about my shoe size. No more. It's size 7. I'm a 7.5, man.
So you trying to change the subject?
I'm a 7.5, man. 7.5, 8. So all the small shoe sizes. The guy who had on episode 8, Ty. It was so funny, man. We've been friends for years, right?
Yeah.
And one day I'm in the gym, I'm deadlifting, and I don't know, for some reason my deadlift shoes make my feet look way smaller, right? So this dude's been in the gym with me for years, right? And then one day he just looks. This is recently too, like not too long ago, and he just go, "Hey, Hurt, I don't mean to be an asshole or nothing, but damn, you got some small ass feet." I don't know if he thought I was gonna like react like I actually recorded it and posted it because to me it's funny. It's like, I mean, I've accepted it. I mean, I've always had a small foot. Never had a big foot. Never tried to wear big shoes. Actually, no, I tried to wear big shoes. I got a brother who he has small feet too, and he thinks that if he wears bigger shoes, like, it's gonna look better.
I mean, I have like longer feet, but like they're skinnier.
But you're also taller. How tall are you?
I just got measured the other day in the doctor. I was 5'11".
You're
With
5'11".
no shoes. So in shoes, I'm 6 foot.
6 foot.
6
Here,
foot in
young ladies,
shoes.
all you ladies who want a 6 foot guy, man.
6 foot in shoes.
Yeah, 6 foot.
I mean, you're only gonna see me in shoes though, so.
That's all that matters, man. So, hey, man, you threw me off with that. No, I was asking you, do you have a girlfriend?
No.
No? Why is that?
Are
you allowed to date?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I'm really just like sick of like the girls at our school, if I'm being real.
Okay. And you know what?
Like,
I want to know your opinion on this, man. Listen, and some people, this is a controversial topic, and a lot of you teenagers are dealing with this. Not necessarily you. I don't foresee you dealing with it, but you're around it. We're gonna talk about it. All this, you know, they, thems.
Oh yeah.
You deal with that at school, right?
Honestly, not as much as you think.
Okay.
I feel like past years, yeah, but I feel like
You said past years, like they just decided to stop doing it.
I feel like you deal with it more in middle school, cause that's that weird area.
Okay.
That
So in
weird
high
time.
school, people are just like, I'm a girl, I'm a boy.
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm not like in my class. I'm not around it, but I feel like there definitely is people who deal with it.
Okay, so because this is my confusion, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like around like 5th grade, you start learning about nouns and adjectives and all that, right?
5th grade.
Whatever, you know, like when you're younger, right?
Yeah.
You learn about like, you know, thems, theys, he's, hers,
I never
plurals,
learned. I never learned. Oh, you're talking
Yeah.
about this plurals and all that?
right?
Yeah.
So they, when you think about they, right?
Yeah.
How many people is that?
2.
2, right?
I
Hold on.
just think
hear me
like
out.
2 people, like
Yeah,
like
right?
me and you.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
somebody else would be talking. They'd be like, they would say, them, or they on that podcast, right?
Yeah.
That's more than one person, right?
Yeah.
So how can I refer to somebody as a they, and it's just one.
Well,
Does that make sense to you?
I mean, it really doesn't. But like,
You know we're gonna get a lot of flack for this, right?
yeah,
But I'm trying to learn.
honestly don't know.
I'm trying to understand.
Cause I've never like really explored it too much, you know. But like, probably like you haven't explored it too much either.
I don't want to explore it too much. I mean, I just
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, like to be a boy and to be a male and to decide or to to decide that you want to be a girl and that you want me to address you as a girl.
Mhm.
Okay, I can kind of sort of wrap my head around that. Right?
Yeah.
Could you?
Like if you're a boy and then you
Yeah.
want someone to call you a girl.
Yeah, like you're a transgender.
Um,
That's fine. You know. Well, I mean,
I mean, I feel like I don't really know. I mean, if you want me to, I will. But like,
but I'm just saying it can make sense. It's like, okay, if you're a boy and you start dressing like a girl,
yeah.
I can look at you and I say, okay, I can see why you want me to call you a girl.
Yeah,
If you dress
yeah,
like a girl,
yeah.
all that. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's when you're just a one person and I say, oh, young lady or man or whatever, and then you say, oh, no, I'm a they.
Yeah, I don't really know how you say young to that. Like
Huh?
you say young they.
No, I'm just saying, like, let's just say you're one of the people who wants to be referred as a they, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I say, hey man, and you're like, nah, I'm not a boy. I'm like, you're not a boy. You're like, no, I'm a they.
Yeah, I'm a they.
Like, make it make sense. You're a single person. Like, are you like multiple personalities? Like, I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
they don't really make sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm just wondering because a lot of teens are pushing that. A lot of people are, and I don't know how to navigate this world. I mean, that world. I can say this world, that world. And what I really find confusing is you spring that on me. You just decide to start doing that. It's not like a thing. It's not like in the books. Like you got boy, girl, they, them. That's something you kind of made up. Like you just started doing that. I think they call it like was it non-binary or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's fine, man. I'm not knocking any of that. All right, so you guys don't get out there and say, oh, Herc is talking about us, or I'm not. What I'm trying to say is you're starting something and you want us to all accept it and recognize it with no real meaning. And when we try to ask questions or we're confused, you treat us as if we should already know.
Yeah.
Or you treat us like we're mean because we don't want to conform the way that we were taught and the way that we were raised our whole life, which is a they is multiple people. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna conform to that one. That one, the other stuff, like you want to be a boy and be called a girl, or be a girl and be called a boy, or whatever the case may be. I can get it wrapped around that, like I said. But the days and that's just too confusing. I got other things to worry about in my life. I'm not about to be worried about the fact that you want to be called more than one person as a single person. I can do it. So I was just curious if you guys are dealing with that at school. At school, do y'all have still have boy and girl bathrooms, or y'all got unisex bathrooms?
We still have boy and girl bathrooms.
Okay. You ever seen those unisex bathrooms? Are they confusing to you?
I don't think I have, but
You ever seen a unisex bathroom?
I think I have. It's like a boy and a girl on both of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those. I've only seen them in like restaurants, places like that.
Okay, yeah. Because I was always wondering, like, what if you had like one of those in like the mall or something? Would it have urinals and stalls?
I don't know. I feel like that can be awkward.
Yeah, it would be awkward. You're there going to the bathroom and you got a girl come in. It'd be really weird.
Yeah.
What kind of struggles you think it is that you have as a man or a young man in the dating world as a teenager?
Dating world?
Yeah, besides like the whole sliding DMs and stuff like that. Like, do you think that let me rephrase my question. Do you think that dating is a distraction as a teenager?
Well, I feel like some people can overdo it in a way.
What do you mean?
But I feel like they're just obsessed about it. Like you've seen people like that, but like it's like worse as a teenager. like all they talk about is a relationship. Like I've seen it with like friends. You probably seen this too. They get a girl, you won't see them for like months.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And then all of a sudden they just show up one day. You know what happened?
They broke up.
Yeah.
I was just having a conversation with somebody before. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, life lesson for you, man. It's got to be a balance. Definitely got to have a balance when you. Because here's the thing, your friends are gonna be your friends when that person comes and when they go, and you know, just like that old Chris Brown song, you know, Teen Love, Young Love. See, too old for you. Uh, but
My mom listens to Chris Brown.
she does.
Yeah.
Well, she's like my age, so
Yeah.
she probably was like one of those little girls like Chris Brown. You know?
Probably.
Probably running after him. But either way, so I I think that you can be a teenager and be in love, but it is a teen love. It's a different type of love. It's not. It doesn't always. There's cases where like, I went to school with some people that I look at now and I see them. They're still together, married, got kids, and I'm happy for them. You know, it's good.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that you could find somebody that is willing to go through life with you at a young age and stick it out. That's very rare, very hard. But I think that you gotta have a balance, and a lot of teenagers don't understand about. A lot of adults don't. I mean, a lot of adults don't understand that. Like, you know, if you get a girlfriend, right? You got guy friends, right? You can't just be. I mean, obviously, your girlfriend is gonna become your new priority. She's gonna be a priority, and you're gonna spend a lot of time with her, and you know, you need to have that communication we talked about earlier. But you still need. It's healthy for your mental, to and for your relationship, for you to still have that time with your guys, and for her to have that time with her girlfriends.
Yeah.
Because if you too much of you ever heard the saying too much of something is bad.
Yeah.
Too much of anything is can be bad. So too much of that relationship can be bad. And it puts you guys. It doesn't mean the relationship is bad. It's just you guys got bored. You know, like you got tired of being around, especially as guys.
Yeah.
You know, most of the time, 90% of the time, as guys, like guys, we have wandering eyes. Like we want to look at other women and stuff like that. Doesn't mean we're gonna go talk to them. You know, but that's just how we're. Right. So then when we get in a relationship, we try to be respectful and be all about that one woman.
Yeah.
Right. But when that one woman, it encompasses everything about us, you know, and literally we have no time to just, you know, be a guy.
Yeah.
It kind of like pushes you away. It's almost like we talked about earlier about the restraints. You know, it becomes more appealing to be out there in the streets. And then you start making up excuses of why you need to be, you know, I got to go over here. I got to do this. Start making excuses to be out that relationship. And then eventually you guys grow apart.
Yeah.
Because you guys want to be right up under each other. Now, some people, that works for them. But I think I speak for the general person when I say that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the fact that you know that already, that's good, man. But just remember that going through life, that, yeah, you got to have balance in your friendships and your relationships. Because if not, those relationships, especially, you think about this, right? And you probably had it happen to you because you brought it up, right? Think about the other end of the relationship, right?
Yeah.
All your, you know, being the guy, the guy friend in the group, and then your friend goes out and he has a girlfriend, and you, like you said, you don't see him for a while, and then they break up, and now he comes back,
Yeah.
and then he gets another girlfriend, and he leaves, and he comes back.
I mean, I feel like at that point,
Go
you
ahead and
just
say
sort of forget about them.
exactly.
In a way, like they just sort of fade because you're not thinking about them at all, really.
Yep. And then it's also too like there's no loyalty. It's like we just know what's gonna happen. You're just using us while you're single, and then for our, you know, for our company. And then as soon as you get a girlfriend or you get back with the girl you broke up with, then you're gonna leave us again.
Yeah.
And it becomes one of those things where it's like, I mean, you're cool and all, but, or even worse, you ever seen this?
What?
You ever seen? I hope you haven't seen this as a teenager, but let me know if you have. You ever see ask your friend like, hey man, like, you trying to go to the football game this weekend? And then your friend be like, oh well. Let me talk to.
Oh no.
Let me talk to.
Let me talk is crazy.
But that happens, man. You better be prepared for that.
I know when you're older, yeah. I get if you're like in like a really committed relationship and when you're older and you're like, let me talk to her, make sure we're not doing anything.
What they want to do, for y'all, they want to bring her.
What?
Is that what you're saying? Like, as a teenager, they want to bring their girlfriend? Is that what it is?
Oh no! If they're bringing the girlfriend, no, that's just messed up to the whole group. Cause if you get like a group of people that's want to like go have a good time as like friends and stuff, and you bring a girl, then it's just gonna be about you and it's gonna be about them and the girl.
Yeah. So, what kinds of stuff do they be doing there? Like, if you say like, hey, you want to go to the football game, what do they usually say if they got a girlfriend?
Oh, if they got a girl, if they're doing something with her,
Yeah.
they'll mostly be like, "Oh, me and my girl are gonna hang out or something."
Or they just dish you. It's like, yeah, nah, they choose their girlfriend over y'all.
I mean, some people do that.
Do you think that's a common thing that happens?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I
but look,
mean,
man.
I've seen like reels and TikToks from like other like kids my age saying that.
TikTok. Do people be doing TikToks in school?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like these two girls in my class were doing in the back class on Friday.
How does that work? Like, how are you doing a TikTok when you're supposed to be doing schoolwork?
Or it's right after we just took our test, so all of us are on our phones doing nothing because we got 2 days before break right now.
Okay.
So
So I was about to say, when I was in school, you couldn't even have your phone out in school.
So I had my last test on Thursday for math. After that, I had math first period, so I got to wake up and go do math.
Okay.
So after that, I didn't do anything for the next 2 days,
You just had to go to school for no reason.
pretty much.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So, in the closing of this episode, man, I'm definitely gonna have you back because I want to ask you some more deep questions. But I feel like just having you on, starting that conversation with you was good. I know you say you had a buddy too that you could bring him on,
Yeah.
and have him on here as well. But for your for your friends, right? And I usually do this with all my guests on here. For your friends, for your your peers that are battling with like anxiety, depression, social anxiety, stuff like that, or any kind of like suicidal thoughts. I mean, have you ever had any suicidal thoughts?
No.
No.
No, I've
That's
never.
good, man. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give them? Like they're dealing with like just the stress, even if it's not even like something on that level, like that scale, like just like dealing with stress of being a teenage boy or just being a teenager at 2025. Like what kind of advice would you give? Because to me, it seems like you kind of like have your head on straight, like you're pretty level headed, and you approach problems with a clear mind and a level mind.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give them?
It's like I got probably two pieces. I would say for me and my friends going through something, I'll probably be like I'll reach out to them, like reach out to friends because you never know what they're going through. Because I've seen like stories of people wishing they would have wished that I like reached out to them and like they committed suicide or something. So like probably reaching out is one of the best things you can do. Just like checking in, seeing if they're good.
Okay.
And what was the question again? I'm sorry, I blinked.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody who's just kind of like struggling with like being a teen in 2025? Really?
Find a person who likes you for being you. Like my mom. Like I talk to her about everything. And she knows everything. And when I'm not feeling good, when like today, I was nervous about this. She was like, how you feeling? She could tell I was nervous.
But that's why I structured. Once you kind of like I picked up on it, and she threw you under the bus with it.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of structured this sit down like that. I didn't want it to be too deep.
No, it was good.
Kind of have a casual conversation.
Yeah.
Just kind of break the ice because you are my first teen on here.
It's on.
And I'm pretty sure other teens are gonna probably watch this episode before they decide to come on.
Yeah.
And I don't want to scare them away.
Nah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
I appreciate it. I don't want to scare them away. They'd be like, "Oh man, it seems like an interview or like a therapy session." It can be that if it needs to be, but like I tell everybody, the biggest thing is that we just gotta start talking. And so I would totally agree with you and back you up on that advice. Is find somebody that you can talk to. Outside of your mom, do you have besides your mom, besides your brother and your grandfather, do you have anybody that you could say like friend? You don't have to say who it is either. Do you have a friend or anything like that you could just be like, pick up the phone and be like, man, listen, this so and so at school or this situation at school, man, it's stressing me out. Like you could just talk to them about it and they can kind of like give you some kind of teen advice because getting advice from us is great. Having that adult that you can talk to, having that older brother you can talk to, but somebody who's on your level who can who relate to you exactly what you're going through. That's very important.
I say probably my friend Elijah.
Okay.
'Cause,
Elijah, you better come on this podcast now,
yeah,
man.
he's the one I told you about.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that his mom wanted to be on this.
All right.
Yeah, it's with him too. He can talk to me about anything. We can talk to each other about anything. I've known him since kindergarten.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's having anyone, especially it's better to have a teen friend. I feel like,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
but a family member also, because friends can be like, if they're not like close friend, and you don't have a close friend like that, you can be judgy.
Okay.
So like, it all depends on your situation, but finding that person, yeah.
All right. Well, look, man. What do you think about the podcast?
I had a great time.
You had a great time.
I had a great time.
Did the nerves ever go away?
I was really nervous.
Okay. That's
I mean,
good.
I was like, dang, I'm really about to be on the podcast today.
Hey, look, man. I appreciate you. Like I told you, man. I kind of just jumped off the porch with this after the two major losses that I had in my life. With this, me and my brother, we decided to do this, and then you know, I gotta get him back on here, man. You know, he got a lot going on for himself. And
Yeah.
He's taking some time for himself, so I've been kind of figure this whole thing out myself. So I never was on a podcast before this. Like I told you, if you go back and you watch episode 1,
Yeah.
I even referred to myself as the co-host, and I'm
Co-host.
the host. You know what I mean? I was messing
Yeah.
up. I didn't even edit it out at all. I just kind of kept it in because I wanted it to be authentic. I wanted this podcast to be authentic. I wanted it to be a safe space where people could have a conversation and begin to tell their story. Because your story is unique. Everybody's story is unique. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's no two stories alike, as you can see from the previous 8 episodes. There's no story that's the same, right? And we can all learn from each other. Like, you know, even just with this casual conversation, you know, I feel like other teens, us as adults, you know, we begin to learn about how it is to be a teen.
Yeah.
And the more that we can step outside of thinking that we know, you know, like, oh yeah, we were a teen. I was a teen before. I was 16.
Yeah.
I know how it is, you know. Yeah, well, to an extent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's totally different. The struggles that we dealt with are not the same struggles. And I'm not here to say that our struggles were harder than yours or yours were harder than ours.
Yeah.
It's just different. But we got to find a way to understand yours so that way we can help be there, be that support for you, guide you, and, you know, help you through this journey we call life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that this is just the beginning. And I would love to have other teens on there, so if you have other friends or something like that you know you would think would be a good fit, man. Just send them my way, and I'd love to have them on here. One day we can have a big group. You know?
Yeah.
Eventually, one day I'm gonna move out of this area and get a bigger area, and we can have more people on here at one time. And you know, because like I said, the more we begin to talk, and the more we begin to listen to each other, once the healing. That's how the healing begins. You know what I mean? And that's how support begins, you know, because like you said earlier, you know, somebody might be going through something, but if we never talk to each other
Yeah.
and we never reach out to each other, or if we just reach out one time and I say, hey Parker, how you doing? And then you say, I'm all right, you know, and then I just leave it at that. Does that really show you that I really care?
Yeah.
You know, so, but if I keep reaching out to you and I keep talking to you and I keep, you know, checking on you, eventually it's going to click and be like, okay, this guy, he actually does care. So here's a little bit. Yeah, man, I'm a little stressed out with football. You know, I really think about quitting, even though this is my safe space, but just quitting because I got, you know, so much going on. And then now the conversation has begun. We can talk about what's going on and, you know, we can build off of that.
Yeah.
But you're never going to open up and tell me that if all I ever do is say, hey, Parker, how you doing? And then you just, oh, I'm all right. And I just leave it at that. You know what I mean? If I don't even take any kind of time to make you feel comfortable to get to know you. You know what I mean? So, would you come back on the podcast?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, oh yeah, you said you'll be a host.
I'll be
man.
the
You try to get a
co-host.
job already.
Yeah.
Try to take my job, man.
Yeah, minimum wage.
Yeah, minimum wage. All right. Yeah. You do like the old days, give you like a cheeseburger, like a comic.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah, you know, like back in the day, when the comedians would do shows, do stand-ups, they get paid with like a cheeseburger and fries. I didn't know that until the other day. I was watching a interview with Damon Wayans, and he was saying that in the '80s, like when they would do stand up, like that's how they would get paid. They get paid like a cheeseburger, maybe a fry and a drink, but
Yeah.
so that's crazy. But all right, man. As always, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Parker, I appreciate you. For all you guys who don't know and didn't pick up on it, big big salute to you. Congrats on being a state champion football player. And we hope that we have you back on here and keep doing big things, man. And for all you guys, man, like he said and like I said, make sure you always find that person that you can talk to. Reach out to somebody. Make sure you reach out, check out your friends, your loved ones, and even your enemies, as always, because even your enemies need love and they need support too. Their life is more important than anything that you guys are going through. And like I said in the beginning, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the channel, follow us on Instagram at mindoveremotions_VDP. And you guys stay tuned to episode 10. Peace out.